Good morning, and buenos dias, and welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of San Antonio. Our weekly worship is where we connect, share information, and inspiration. My name is Jim Noel. I've been a member here since 1993, been a longtime member of the choir, served in a variety of positions, and often the back technical person in the office area. Right now I'm helping with the library get their little catalog going, so you can see the fruits of that soon. Let's see. We invite those who are visiting us to rise so that we can see you and greet you, if you're willing. I see one over there. Good morning and welcome. Our faith is all-inclusive and all means all. We strive to enact a universal love that binds us in mutual care and affection, especially in our work for justice for our planet and for all its people. We recognize that our ancestors came from many different homelands, and we acknowledge that we gather here in the homeland of the Colhuitacan people called Yanaguana. They have lived here for 8,000 years and yet still struggle for the rights over their sacred heritage sites. If you're interested in becoming a member of this community, please ask any member or our staff. Any one of us can help you join. We have a membership book that you can sign, and we also ask, in being a member, that you make an annual contribution to help fund the ministry. There's a once-a-month class introducing Unitarianism, so you can look out for UU 101 announcements if you're interested in learning more. And if you're new to us or visiting for the first time today, we welcome you to fill out a yellow visitor's card located in the front pocket of the pew. We'd like to get to know you and follow up with you. Wherever you are on your life's journey, we hope that you will find your place with us. And in case you're wondering, we do tend to block off those back couple of rows for people who need extra access for the seating or a quick departure availability. So we usually block those off early on. We have two short announcements this morning. One, you might have seen in the slides going by that there is the meeting of the retired UU women on Tuesday, and there will be a concert during that time by our own Honest Sirens group, little band here. So look forward to that if any of you are retired women who might not have been coming regularly to the group. Also, the parents group is sponsoring a clothing swap this last weekend and this current weekend. So today is the last day for that. You can find that in Building 4 until 1 o'clock, and it's mostly children's clothing from infant-sized up to young adult. So you can check out Building 4 down the hall, out on the walkway, right after church. Now, I invite you to greet your neighbors and extend a warm welcome to one another.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Xolani Kacela. he, him pronouns, or you can call me XK. And it is great to see all of you this morning on this beautiful, warm day in San Antonio, Texas. Today, our opening words are from our gray hymnal, number 443, We Arrive Out of Many Singular Rooms by Kenneth L. Patton from his 1956 book, Man is the Meaning. And I've taken the liberty of modifying his words to break out of the gender binary and to acknowledge that vision is not the only way of seeing and walking is not the only way to move along a street. He writes, we arrive out of many singular rooms, traveling over the branching streets. We come to be assured that family surrounds us. We come to restore their images on our eyes and to feel warmth of their presence. We enlarge our voices in common speaking and seeking. We try again that solitude found in the midst of those who with us seek their hidden reckonings. Our eyes reclaim the remembered faces. Their voices stir the surrounding air. The warmth of their hands assures us, and the gladness of our spoken names. This is the reason of cities, of homes, of assemblies in the houses of worship. It is good to be with one another. We light our chalice as a reminder of our dependence upon one another, our need for connection, our collective responsibility to help others overcome loneliness and isolation. We need each other to survive. Our opening hymn is number 99, Nobody Knows the Trouble I've Seen. I invite you to rise in body or spirit as you're able.
Glory, how
We are called as Unitarian Universalists to build the beloved community where all are welcome as blessings. Let's recite our covenant that articulates our promises and binds us together. Please read together. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other. El amor es la doctrina de esta iglesia, su sacramento es la búsqueda de la verdad, y su oración es el servicio, concebir en paz, buscar sabiduría y libertad, dar humanidad nuestra para que todas almas crezcan en armonía con la divinidad. Así vamos con el amor.
Shining night of stormy shadows round, kindness must watch for me beside the ground.
Thank you, Khadijah. I saw Grace videoing for Instagram. Great. I would invite all of you all to break out your cameras anytime during the service for Instagram, X post, or Facebook, whatever you choose. Just get us out there. We appreciate it. Well, I read yesterday that our Secretary of Defense retweeted some bad stuff suggesting that women not be able to vote. And to me, that is just so ridiculous and appalling. It just adds another stone to our burdens that we carry from day to day, those of us who are progressive-minded and thinking towards the future. It just compounds all the pain that we feel from day to day, not only our personal sorrows, for the communal sorrows that we experience, those compounded by the floodings, weather events, and other things that just seem to be heavy, weighing on our individual souls and our collective souls and the families and all those who make up this community and beyond. So we have this ceremony, the stone ceremony, where we invite you to come and to spend a moment of personal reflection and meditation. Invite you to come down to drop a stone into this vessel we have, and I invite you to just spend a moment with yourself, to remind yourself who you are, why you're here, what's your life purpose, what's your personal mission statement, and to reinforce that you are who you are. You bring your authentic selves to the table every day, and you belong here. So I invite you now to come forward as Jaime plays some meditative music. We have several entries in our community book of life this morning, a couple of printed entries. Today's flowers are provided by Jessica Latimer, celebrating 59 years of marriage. Jessica and John, happy anniversary. One more year to the big 6. We're so happy to welcome the Almost Chamber Ensemble back to First UU for their summer season. They will be performing here in the sanctuary today at 3 p.m. and for the next 3 Sundays, also at 3 p.m. Admission is free, but donations are welcome. Don't miss what is sure to be a fabulous concert. Do you believe in love at first sight? I did at 16, and am now celebrating 59 years. That's from the Latimers again. Lito and Ruth Bohanda Moore are with family in Houston today, as Lito's brother-in-law, John, awaits a triple bypass surgery tomorrow. So they're asking for prayers for John and his family. Congratulations to Chad Anderson and Misty Rogers, who were married last week. Saw them earlier somewhere. I see Chad saying, there you go. Francisca Bermudez is asking for prayers and kind thoughts and good juju. She's applying for a disability and has an appointment tomorrow. Please give a moment of reflection and support for those Texas teachers who refused to display the 10 Commandments in their public school classrooms. We have a speaker on Sunday of Labor Day who will be talking about those 10 Commandments. She's from the ACLU, so be sure to be here on the 7th. Celebrate Kendall Scott on his birthday today. His family is so grateful for his life, love, and dedication as husband and father, so happy birthday, Kendall. Where's Kendall? And then we have another birthday for Hunter Curry on his 9th yesterday. His mother adds these words saying that every year you grow to an exceptional, wonderful, and amazing human being, and she is so proud to be your mother and see you lead with courage and kindness. So let's give a great happy birthday to Kendall. Hunter. Well, there's no shortage of people, events, and miracles waiting to happen that we can pray for and meditate about. And there are countless acts of kindness and compassion that good people are doing every minute of the day. I met with my songwriters group yesterday, and the leader, who is in Daytona, Florida, mentioned how divided we are as Americans. Tamara and I put up a rainbow flag with the stars of the Union in our yard as an expression of our love for all people. In response, it appears, our neighbor resurrected his Trump 2024 campaign sign. So today I want us to jumpstart some healing for the divisions that separate us one from another. I'm going to invite you to a minute of silence, or maybe a little bit longer. Not a minute to whisper to the person sitting next to you, or to break out your phone, but a minute of healing. I invite you now to place your hand on your heart. Feel it beating. This heartbeat connects you to every human who has ever lived and every human who will ever live. What will you do with your one connected life? How will you use your heartbeat to heal the world? Think on these things in the silence. Breathe in one deep breath for your neighbor on your left. Breathe in one deep breath for your neighbor on your right. And breathe in breaths for the neighbors in front of you and behind you. Those who have come before you and those who will come after you. We ask this in the prayers and meditations of our hearts, in the name of all persons present and absent, known and unknown, remembered and forgotten, and all helpers of humankind. Amen, Ashe, and may it be so.
Morning. If I can have my friends join me up here, I'm going to need a helper with the book. You want to help, Zara? Okay, so you're going to turn the pages for me because I've got some other stuff here. My name is Tim Versteeg. I'm the Director of Religious Education at the church. My pronouns are he, him, and today we're going to read a story about Henry David Thoreau. Now, it's called Walking with Henry, and it's by Thomas Locker. Yes, so you can turn the page. And I'm going to need to see the words, so hang on there, hang on there. So Henry Thoreau was born a Unitarian, although he left the Unitarian Church in the 1800s. And he left because he wasn't agreeing with something that was going on in his own church. But he wrote something called Civil Disobedience, and in our present day, I think it's a good message for us to remember, because as Unitarians, we remember a couple of things about Thoreau. One was that he thought it was more important to work for justice than it was necessarily to follow the rules, which I think is important for us. And the other was his connection to nature, that the natural world was a place where we can find peace and quiet and reinforce our own resilience against the world. And the world is so busy right now, I think it's a good message for us to remember. So this is a story about that second point. And I'm going to start with a quote at the start of the book. In wildness is the preservation of the world. How many a man has dated a new era just from the reading of a book? Once there was a nature writer named Henry David Thoreau who lived in Concord, Massachusetts, and loved to walk in the wilderness. Okay. One day, Henry cut down a sapling for a walking stick, and leaving the cares of civilization behind, he followed a path by the river. The path ended at the edge of the wilderness. Henry set up his tent and peeled the bark from his walking stick, and as the lingering sunset faded and darkness covered the land, so he peeled all the bark. At first light, he entered the pathless wilderness. The air was filled with the smells of plants growing and decaying. Listening to the sounds of animals, Henry studied the moss and the ferns, the trees and the flowers, walking carefully to avoid the snakes. The farther he went from civilization, the happier he became. And at the top of a waterfall, Henry took out his carving knife and whittled his stick. Time seemed to disappear. Startled by the hooting night owls, Henry sat up in his tent, then fell asleep listening to the sound of the falling water. When he awoke, the grass was covered with morning dew. It looked like a mirror broken into 1,000 fragments, wildly reflecting the full blaze of the rising sun. Through the glare and mist, Henry was astonished to see a large moose entering the forest. Hoping for a closer look, Henry followed the moose tracks. They led to a sparkling lake at the foot of a gigantic mountain. It was like a dream of paradise. He wondered what he would see from the mountaintop. Using his sturdy walking stick, Henry struggled up the mountain, passing huge rocks that seemed to have been dropped from an unseen quarry. Bone-tired, Henry reached the summit at the last light of day faded into night. The moon rose silently. Millions of stars appeared in the endless sky. Huddling close to the warmth of his small, crackling campfire, Henry carved the handle of his staff until it fit perfectly in his hand. Oh, hang on. At dawn, Henry picked up his stick. It wasn't too short or too long. It wasn't too thick or too thin. Like the wilderness, it was the way it should be. Henry looked out over the world and then descended into the rising mist. As he started home, the woods became dark. Trees began to sway in the wild, howling wind. Henry heard the fierce drumbeat of rain pounding on the roof of the forest. And soon both the wilderness and Henry were soaked. And when the storm ended, everything became silent. A brown wood thrush sang and another answered. Henry listened to the sound of the creek filling and recognized familiar rocks, trees, and animals. It was like meeting old friends or even family. Enjoying the fellowship, Henry sauntered towards the light streaming in from the edge of the wilderness. The warm sun on his back was like a gentle herdsman leading him home. While he found the path by the river, his heart was filled with a love of the world. Near his home, he planted an acorn in case he would ever need another walking stick. But his walking stick, shaped and tested by the wilderness, lasted for many years, and the acorn grew into a wild and noble oak. And David Thoreau's words about wildness still echo across the land. And that's the end of our story.
What is that called?
It's called a rain stick. Thanks for your help, Sarah.
Longest Silence, A Life in Fishing by Thomas McGuane. I began remembering a time when my son and I were dropped at a small tundra pond in Alaska after a short ride in a beautiful Grumman beaver. Our short flight took us over the heroic spaciousness of the northern edge of the Katmai Wildlife Area, an area of truly fierce beauty. Nothing we had ever seen prepared us for it. Our landing interrupted a bald eagle's attempt to ambush a flock of young harlequin ducks, and the eagle angrily wheeled around behind us. Picture a pond as small and intimate as Walden, with hundreds of miles of visibility in all directions, ground that quivered, mountains that looked like they predated the world itself, a sky that was a record of the North Pacific's infinity of moods. This was land that seemed to never have expected human passage, a place made for the vast spatial needs of Alaskan brown bears and Arctic wolves. As we passed high banks, I saw claw marks 10 feet off the ground where the bears had feasted on cliff swallow nestlings. With fly rods in our hands, we had dropped through time. Fishing had given us this.
Thank you, Jim, and thank you all for being here this morning. Thank you, Tim, for the beautiful story about Thoreau. We happened to see a moose in our recent trip to Alaska, so I would say Thoreau is a very brave person to put himself in front of a moose that's alive and walking. We also saw some caribou. It was quite astonishing. Well, today I'm thinking about digital Sabbath and finding a sacred space in our hyper-connected world. I want to start with a confession. Yesterday, I caught myself checking my phone while I was brushing my teeth. Not once, 3 times. In a span of 2 minutes, I was somehow convinced that there was something earth-shattering that might have happened between the time I woke up and the time I reached for my toothbrush. Spoiler alert, nothing happened. So this morning, I'm wondering if you've had similar moments. Maybe you found yourself scrolling through your social accounts while your coffee gets cold. Or perhaps you realize you've been so busy documenting a beautiful sunset that you forgot to actually watch it. If so, you're not alone. We're all trying to figure out how to be human in a world that seems to be designed keeping us anything but present. We live in what I call a notification nation. Our devices ping, buzz, and light up approximately 80 times per day. That's once every 12 minutes during our waking hours. We become citizens of a country where currency is attention. And frankly, we're going bankrupt. The average person checks their phone 205 times a day. That's once every 12 minutes. We're raising a generation that has never known silence without the option to feel it instantly. And here's the thing. This really isn't our fault. These technologies were designed by some of the smartest people in the world to capture and to hold our attention. They're very good at their job, really, really good. But here's what I've learned. Just because we can be connected to everything doesn't mean we should be. Just because we can know everything that's happening everywhere doesn't mean we need to. And sometimes the most radical thing we can do is put down the phone and pick up our lives. We talk about digital natives, those raised on the internet, and digital nomads, those who move around doing computer jobs. But there's a third category that we rarely speak about: digital laborers. And here's what might surprise you. Digital laborers aren't people at all. They're computers doing the work traditionally done by human beings. And every day I'm reading an article about how these digital nomads, or digital laborers, are displacing our young college graduates. While we've been busy checking our phones 205 times a day, something profound has been happening. The work that once gave meaning to human hands, human minds, and human creativity is being quietly transferred to algorithms. And we're not just losing jobs, we're losing the sacred act of human contribution to the world. Every time we choose the screen over conversation, the notification over the moment, we're participating in our own displacement. We're teaching the world that human attention isn't as valuable and enough to protect. And I admit that I am guilty of this myself. My wife is shaking her head because she knows. She walks into the room when I'm on my computer, and I just keep on going, and she's trying to talk. And I keep on going, and she keeps talking. The concept of Sabbath is thousands of years old. It's the idea that we need regular rhythms of rest, reflection, and renewal. But Sabbath isn't just about taking a day off. It's about creating sacred space and time. It's about remembering that we are more than our productivity, more than our achievements, more than the sum of our digital interactions. The ancient rabbis had a beautiful phrase: more than Israel has kept the Sabbath has kept Israel. In other words, the practice of regular rest and reflection doesn't just serve us, it preserves something essential about who we are. Today we need a new kind of Sabbath, a digital Sabbath. Not because technology is evil, but because we need to remember who we are when the screens go dark. Standing on the banks of the Kenai River in Alaska, watching salmon fight their way upstream while eagles circled overhead, I discovered something I'd almost forgotten: complete presence. The silence wasn't empty, it was full. There were no cell towers to remind me of my digital presence. In places like this, or breathing the thin air in Taos and Santa Fe, New Mexico, where mountains stretch time and sky makes your problems feel small, something shifts. The constant hum of digital anxiety quiets. You remember that you are part of something much larger than your latest notification. Sacred space isn't just about geography. It's about intention. It's about the quality of awareness you bring to any moment. The wilderness doesn't have to be far away. It can be as close as your next breath, found between the pause of your notifications, in the moment before you pick up your phone. Here's the paradox of our hyper-connected age. We're more connected than ever, yet loneliness is at epidemic levels. We have access to more information than any humans in history, yet anxiety and depression rates are soaring. It's a national health emergency. We can communicate instantly with people across the globe, yet we struggle to have meaningful conversations with people sitting next to us. Just recently, my dear friend Phil Thornton, who I went to high school and college with, texted me a picture of he and our friend Nick Harrell. And I have a picture that Ron's gonna post. Phil and Nick were having dinner together in Atlanta recently. Phil and I go back to our high school years when we were in 10th grade together, learning world history, and then to Morehouse College in Atlanta. Initially, I responded with pics of me and Tamara in Alaska. I think he has those pictures. There's Tamara with a halibut, and me with a halibut. Then I remembered that we too had dinner too with a new friend that we met in Soldotna just 2 weeks ago. And we also had dinner with another friend that I met in Soldotna 5 years ago. There's Jeff Slaughter. He had us over at his house for dinner one evening. So I realized that we were practicing what I preach. But here was the paradox in action: sharing digital images of real connection while actually living real connection. The technology that promised to bring us together is, in many ways, keeping us apart because we haven't learned how to use it intentionally. We've let it use us instead. And this hits our generation particularly hard. Those among us who are in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, they're the bridge generation. They remember life before smartphones, but they are the first generation to raise children who will never know a world without them. They're navigating climate change, economic uncertainty, a social upheaval, all while trying to figure out how to be present in a world designed to scatter our attention. So how do we create sacred space in our hyper-connected world? It starts with boundaries, my friends. Not walls that shut the world out, but permeable boundaries that help us choose what gets our attention and when. Walter Chrysler, the founder of the Chrysler Corporation, once said, "Whenever there is a hard job to be done, I assign it to a lazy person. He is surely to find an easy way of doing it." But what happens when we assign that hard job to a machine instead? We lose more than our efficiency. We lose the sacred human struggle of finding our own way. Here are some practices that I have found to help me navigate during this hyper-connected age. Morning silence. Before reaching for your phone, try sitting in silence for just 5 minutes. Feel your feet on the ground. Notice your breathing. Remember that you exist beyond your digital identity. Notification fasting. Turn off non-essential notifications. Your phone doesn't need to tell you every time someone likes your photo or shares an article. Reserve notifications for truly urgent matters. I only get notifications for my calendar, a text, or extreme weather events. If you're receiving notifications for email, you're likely feeling very edgy. Tech-free meals. Make meals sacred by keeping your devices away from the table. Food tastes better when you actually taste it. And conversations are richer when you're actually listening. Digital sunset. Set a time each evening when you put your devices to rest. And let your brain know the day is ending, that it's time to rest and reflect. My cell is set for do not disturb between 9 p.m. and 7 a.m. One day unplugged. Try a full day without your social media, news, or non-essential digital activities. And you might be surprised by what you discover in the silence. What have I learned after practicing digital Sabbath? The most sacred space is within yourself. It's the quality of attention you bring to any moment. It's your capacity to be fully present, whether you're washing dishes or having a conversation or watching a sunset. That space within is where your creativity lives. It's where your intuition speaks, where you remember what matters most, and where you connect with something larger than yourself, whether you call it God, Spirit, or the interconnected web of existence. Here's a surprise I want to leave you with. The most sacred space you can find within yourself is because you need to remember who you are. I repeat that. The most sacred space you can find is the space within yourself because you need to remember who you are and who you are in that space. When you create sacred space in your life, you're helping your family, your community, your world. You're modeling a different way of being human by showing others that it's possible to live with intention, presence, and joy. Some days you'll check your phone while brushing your teeth. Some days you'll get lost in endless scrolling, but that's okay. The practice isn't about perfection. It's about returning. Again and again, returning to presence, to what matters, and that sacred space within yourself. Before I let you go, I want to invite you to carry these questions with you. What would it look like to treat your attention as sacred? How might your life change if you created regular spaces for silence, reflection, and presence? The world needs us to be awake and present. We need to remember who we are beyond our screens, notifications, and our digital identities. We are better when we practice digital Sabbath, not as escape, but as engagement with what matters most. The sacred space is here, right now. The sacred space is you, and you. And may you remember, you are more than your last notification. You are more than your digital footprint. You are a walking, breathing, sacred space in this beautiful, challenging, hyperconnected world. The silence is waiting. And now it's time for me to be quiet. Ashe, and may it be so. Blessed be. It's now time for our invitation to generosity. I invite our ushers to come forward. We rely on each of you to bring your gifts of time, talent, and treasure to this beloved community so that we may be the community that we aspire to be. And always remember that if you can only give your presence, that is enough. But if you can contribute more of your treasure, we will make the most of it. And we will be glad and full of gratitude for all that you give us. The offering will now be given and received. We give thanks for all of your gifts that make this the beloved community that we aspire to be. Amen and ashe. May it be so. Our closing hymn is number 100, I've Got Peace Like a River. Well, we have on the screen number 298, Wake Now My Senses. What are the musicians ready to play? Got both ready to play. Let's go with I've Got Peace Like a River. 100. Our closing words are number 681 in our gray hymnal, adapted from Gaelic runes. Deep peace of the running wave to you, deep peace of the flowing air to you, deep peace of the quiet earth to you, deep peace of the shining stars to you, deep peace of the infinite peace to you. My friends, keep your heads up and your hearts open. Go and spread the good news of Unitarian Universalism with all people you encounter along your journey. Amen. You may go in peace.